Well, hello there, and welcome to WTA Weekly. What a week it's been, I'll tell you that. Not the final I think any of us were expecting, but I think we've got a good deal out of it. I am joined today by the wonderful Bianca. Bianca, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All good, all good. All ready to talk about my favorite tour and what has been a very, very good day for WTA tennis. We have a result. It has come in sort of the last sort of half hour or so. Jasmine Paolini is a WTA 1000 champion. Bianca, how does that sound?
I mean, I don't think it's the craziest sounding WTA 1000 champion by a long shot. I feel like she's put in a lot of work over the last year, 6 months. So yeah, I don't know. Sounds good. Hopefully she can build on it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think she's got a good chance. I think isn't she about the same age Camilla Giorgi was when she won her 1000 back in 2021? I'm looking at how old
How
Georgie is.
old is Paolini? I don't even know.
28. Paolini's 28. So I think
Oh,
Georgie was 29. Let's have a look. Paolini. Yeah, she's 28. She was born on the 4th of January, 1996. So, yeah, year younger than Georgie when she won her 1000 title. Some people would say she was a crazier name, although she was a Grand Slam quarterfinalist by that point. So, Italian tennis seems to have champions on both tours now.
yeah. Yeah. Italian tennis is rising up.
Indeed. Let's talk about Paris' run, but let's start with the final and work backwards. I think Paris wins 4-6, 7-5, 7-5, kind of stealing the set 2 and set 3, and really that final was so good. The rally quality from both was great. It wasn't big hitting, but it wasn't pushing. It was that sort of nice medium that was still great to watch. Margin, but with power. And the rally tolerance for both was pretty impressive for most of the match, I would say. It was a really, really good watch. And again, once again, testament to the depth of quality in the WTA Tour that you can have two players outside the top 20 meet in one of the biggest finals of the year and it be really, really good.
And they definitely both, I would say, obviously, Kalinskaya defeated Iga on the way there, but Paolini, she also had a pretty tough run herself. So for both of them to get there in the final and still be producing really good quality, it's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about it a little bit. I guess where would you say the final was won and lost for Paolini?
Well, I watched the first set. I didn't watch the second set, and then I watched the third set. So don't know if something changed in the second set.
I watched the third set, so we're about similar.
But when Kalinskaya was serving for it in Iga's match, the same thing happened. She lost serving for the match, but she had a double break, so she was able to get it over the line. So when that happened, I was like, maybe it was just closing it out nerves in the end for her. And Paolini was able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to be fair, I think Iga almost capitalized on it because Iga went straight to break point the second time Kalinskaya served for the match at 5-4 in that semi-final. And I think it was only because Iga got a little bit too trigger happy on her returns. It was almost like she started to get tight as well, that Kalinskaya was able to close that semi-final out. Otherwise, I think if she'd been broken, Iga could have probably pulled off a comeback, depending on how much energy she had in the tank. But that's, I would agree with you. The last three games is where it all kind of went wrong for Kalinskaya, because up to that point she was looking really, really good, but she was visibly tight in those sort of final three games. well, definitely the one she was serving in. She tried to make a 5 in Paolini's service game at 5-all.
But yeah, and then pretty quick last game. Like I think it was 40 love or love 40 for Paolini, and then it just she capitalized on it at the first match point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting because Paolini, it was clear she was a fighter. That semi-final she had against Castella was so good for her. Like she had match point. Castella saved it, as she'd done with her previous 2 matches this week. And I thought, oh, here we go again. And then Paolini fends off, what was it, 5 set points in that second set?
5 or 6 set points, yeah.
6, and then wins it on her second match point in the tiebreak. And I think someone who's done that, who's got that grit to hold in and dig in, was going to be super hard for anyone to beat, really.
You know the furthest either of them have gone in previous 1,000 tournaments before?
Paolini, I know it wasn't very far. I had her stats up earlier. Kalinskaya, I don't think she's got that. So her previous best was the 3rd round of Indian Wells in 21 and 22 for Paolini. Kalinskaya, I mean, to be honest, Paolini only made the second week of a slam for the first time this year in Australia. So it's not like it's not like they've gone super deep in big events before. Let's have a look. So Kalinskaya, yeah, she again, same thing. Second week of a slam, first time past the second round in Australia. Kalinskaya has been to a quarterfinal of a 1,000 before. She made the quarterfinals of the 2022 Guadalajara Open, where she lost to Marie Buskova, or she retired against Marie Buskova in that match. So that was. So I'd say Kalinskaya maybe had the slightly healthier record when it comes to 1,000s, and also let's face it, she was probably favoured due to her run against beating 3 top 10 players: Ostapenko, off Swiatek, and from watching much of that 3rd set, she looked like she had the upper hand for much of it. It was difficult to see her getting broken without her breaking herself.
Yeah, it's hard to say who deserved to win the final, but to beat 3 top 10 players in a row, I feel like it kind of sucks that you're not walking away with the title.
Do you want to say that to Leylah Fernandez?
Oh,
I'm saying this as a Leylah fan, by the way, because that's yeah. But yeah, that still stings a little bit that it had to be against Emma.
Yeah,
she had to be the one to play Emma, unfortunately. So yeah, I think clearly Paolini, Kalinskaya had the run, no doubt about it, but she probably. But yeah, I think Paolini might be overlooking her a little bit, to be honest. Because like, how did she do? She got benefited from a walkover against Rybakina in the quarters. I think that was the thing that really unlocked it. We talked about her win over Castella. She beat Sakkari in straights. She beat Fernandez, speaking of in straights, and she beat Haddad Maia in 3. So yeah. So actually, she had a tough run herself. It's just that the ranking of her opponents wasn't quite the same. Yeah. So yeah. So how long have you been following any of Paoli's career? Because she came to my attention at the 2021 US Open. There's a lot of parallels between this tournament and that 2021 US Open, where we have 2 kind of outsiders in a big final producing a really good quality match, having both fought through the draw in spectacular ways and in different fashions. Obviously, Emma coming through qualifying, Layla beating a load of top 10 players. But in this case, sort of similar kind of runs for both. And we're running back. But yeah, Paolini, 2021 US Open, she had a tough match with Azarenka that she lost in the second round, but she made it really competitive, even though it was straight sets. And that's where she first came on the radar for me. I don't know whether she's someone that you've kind of been following on and off.
Not really. The most I like keep up with her is like her on Team Italy and like the Billie Jean King Cup and like United Cup. Kind of, that's more where I feel like I'm seeing her, like the stuff she does for Team Italy. Like, I really haven't followed her that much until this tournament, but yeah, I feel like players that are older, not really, kind of get overlooked after a certain point and results haven't come. But like I feel like we've seen, especially this year, like age is really just a number. So 28, her being able to like get this, she's definitely someone I'm going to be watching from now on.
Yeah, and she's kind of a scrappy player. She's actually not too dissimilar to Fernandez, actually, in that like she's on the shorter side height-wise, but packs a surprising punch. Her counter-punching ability is really, really strong. Very dynamic player, which is kind of what you have to be when you're kind of that height.
Mm-hmm. Literally, you have to scrap for everything because you could get served right off the court or pushed around.
I mean, how tall are you, Bianca?
I'm 5'9", so I don't.
Okay,
where does
little
that
taller.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. So yeah, on the tall side, that would make sense actually. So you could make that you'd be raining down the aces.
It's definitely my go-to when I was like, okay, back against the wall. Let's just try whip out a good few down the tee serves and just get out this game.
Whereas I think Paolini just went with, I'll just hit the massive inside out forehand. That should do the job. Yeah, so that's the final. I think we've kind of wrapped up everything to do with the winners. Obviously, very excited with these two players. I mean, how positive are you about their prospects, sort of, to maintain these? Maybe I don't think consistency is something we can necessarily expect because it's the WTA, and I mean that in a good way. There's a lot of other people of similar level kind of competing in there, but how confident are you that we're going to be seeing Paolini and Kalinskaya at this stage again?
We'll see. I don't know about both of them in how many major finals, 1,000 finals they'll be making, but it's not like they came out of like the woodwork. Like these are names that we've seen around before. Like I found it funny that so many of these like the WTA page were running with, a qualifier is into the quarterfinals and the qualifier is Kalinskaya. I'm like, we're making it seem like she's completely unknown. But yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be shocking if they had like a fourth round appearance at a Grand Slam this year.
I mean, they already have. They played each other in the fourth round of the Australian Open.
Yes, they did.
Job done. Tick. Year done. Let's go set the beach for the rest of the year. See you in Australia. No, maybe not. I think they're too competitive for that. I think the main concern would be for Kalinskaya, given she kind of fits into the kind of what some people would call a glass cannon kind of stereotype. Someone like a Mukova, who very, very talented, has a strong peak form, but really depends on how the body holds up.
Yeah. Speaking of poor Mukova, she's had to have another surgery on her wrist. Like, when will it end?
Like, what does this woman do to catch a break? I mean, like, she caught a break a little bit quite a bit last year, and we
saw the break that she caught, what she was able to do with it, and it's just been like cascading injuries once again.
I know this is a slight tangent, but I'm going to make a bit of a statement here and say how much you agree with it. But I think out of the people on tour who haven't won a slam, Mukova's come the closest.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. She was She was almost there at the French.
Yeah, 4-3 up with a break. Yeah, I don't think anyone else on tour who has been in a Grand Slam final has been up a break.
No, I don't think Jabber came as close as her. When she stepped
Yeah,
in,
that's
she was
Jabber had more
checked out.
opportunities.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you define it. But Mukova has made more of her opportunities that she's got. Maybe. But it depends on how you define it, right? Some people would say, no, it is Ons because she made more finals. But yeah, I think you and I are in the same category. But Mukova was closest to winning when she did make it. So yeah. Well, speaking of that French Open final, that French Open final was won by Iga Swiatek, who did not win this tournament, to a lot of people's surprise, including maybe herself, given how she reacted at the end of that semi-final loss to Kalinskaya. Let's hear what she had to say.
I didn't play my tennis tonight, but on the other hand, I was there to win it, so for sure I didn't, live up to my standard as I usually do, so I'm not happy, but on the other hand, like, these 2 weeks were so intense that you just have to look forward, and it doesn't matter now.
So, Bianca, give us your thoughts on what Iga had to say there.
Well, this just proves how much of a champion mentality she has. She's fresh off of another 1,000, and she played well. I think it was just obviously at the end that, again, like you said, like trigger happy. I don't think it's anything to like freak out about, like back to the drawing board type thing. Like, I thought she was playing pretty well, but of course, when you have that champion's mentality, you're not satisfied with anything but the trophy. So maybe a little bit of frustrated words from her there, like, but yeah, I thought it was fine.
She definitely didn't produce the level that she knows she's capable of. Mm-hmm. But you're right, she did play pretty well. I mean, like, okay, 18 unforced errors in the match. That's not good, but it's not horrific.
Yeah.
That's she still was in the second set. She was very much in the first. It was a real fight. She just didn't produce the level needed to win that match. She did go off the boil in the middle of it. And that's probably talking about where the fatigue comes in that she was talking about. But yeah, I think a lot of the time, Iga's level, even when she's not having a good day, is enough to win most matches she plays. So I think she's frustrated that she wasn't high enough to win this match.
Yeah. Like usually an off day, instead of 6-love, 6-1, it's 6-4, 6-4.
Yes, exactly. Like an off day for Iga. Yeah, I think the only time I've ever seen her lose double breaks was when she was ill against Krejcikova in the final last year. No, it was Rybakina, Indian Wells, and again she wasn't well. She was injured for that. So not great. I mean, here's something I wanted to kind of bring up, because obviously this loss has created, as things sometimes do, a lot of online discussion. So I think it's probably a good thing to dive into this and look at, we are both of the opinion that Iga played pretty well and produced a very strong level for a professional tennis player in that match. But whenever she loses, there's always a discussion of either, she's not that good because she lost to someone outside the top 30, or she only it goes to the other extreme of she only loses when she plays badly, if that makes any sense. Like she has no hope when she's playing badly, which yeah, I know I have thoughts on that, but I'm going to stop talking. Do you want to wade in on this?
Yeah, I feel like this is such a common theme to do to players if they have one like off day or they're not winning, to just start immediately like putting out think pieces of how horrible they're playing, or how they don't have any problem solving skills when they're not playing their best. But I don't know, I think it's a weird narrative to spin.
I've got a couple of questions I think is worth discussing because I think people will be interested in seeing what we think about this. So here's the first one. And this is one I actually posed on Twitter. I think I'm still waiting for the results of that poll. Which do you think that every match Iga plays is on her racket?
Sometimes it definitely looks that way. But like, no, I I don't think it's possible for every match to be on her racket. I wouldn't say when she plays Ostapenko, any of those matches are on her racket.
Yeah, and that seems to be the consensus from people who are actually replying to me. I've had discussions with a couple of big name Iga fans about it. A couple of other people kind of wading in who maybe weren't necessarily fans. Yeah, in matchups with the top players and Ostapenko, it's not. But the question then is the match on her racket when she plays literally anyone else? And that seems to be what some Iga fans believe.
Gosh, it definitely feels like that some way. I mean, sometimes like just her presence alone, like, oh my gosh, you've drawn, you're playing like world number one, Iga Swiatek, this, that, and the third. And when she's hitting, when she's on and she's like dominating a point, it kind of feels like the opponent has no chance, even if maybe their skills are like well enough to defeat a player like Iga. I think it's like everything adding it in. Maybe it makes it seem like these matches are on her racket always. So when she does have losses, everyone's like taken aback.
Yeah. I guess then that leads on to the follow-up question, which is it reasonable to expect that the top four, I'm going to widen this a little bit, but mainly but like with an emphasis on Iga, because that's obviously who started this conversation. Is it reasonable to expect that the current top four, Iga, Arena, Elena, Coco, should only be losing to each other?
I mean, mostly only losing to each other. Like if they're losing frequently to a lot of lower ranked players, then that's like can raise some questions there. But like the tight matches where they're both playing like really well, I feel like their head-to-heads should be pretty equal with each other. Like the Coco Iga head-to-head is like a little concerning, but we've seen all of them play each other and beat each other. Just depends on like the surface or the altitude or whatever. But yeah, I think the majority of their like close losses should be to each other, like losing when they're playing well, just because their levels are so equally matched.
Okay, so it's like when they're playing well, yes, but if they're having an off day, but then again, it depends. Like then, if you're a top player, how often should you have an off day? Yeah. And I think everyone's answer to that question is going to be different. Yeah, because I've been kind of something I'm kind of working on to see if I can get a piece out of it at all is charting sort of other big name players and how often they lost and who to. And like Serena, when she was at her peak, was only really losing, not necessarily 3 or 4 matches a year, but 3 or 4 opponents a year. Usually. And if that's but the thing is, only about 10 women in history were consistently able to do that and play at that level. Whereas most of the time it's kind of in the 5 to 10 mark for like your Davenports, Sharapovas, Sanchez Vicario. So it kind of, who are all still great players. They're just not necessarily GOAT players. So it's kind of what you measure with. If you expect, if you're your number one to be the GOAT for the era, or GOAT best of the era, and be that level of dominant, then anything they do is going to disappoint you. And yeah, this is where I'm at the minute with it is, I don't think every match is on Iga's racket, for the reasons you said, but also I think it does massively discredit the quality of the competition, because the fact is that the best players in the world produce the best level, the elite level tennis, consistently week on week on week. But everyone who's ranked in the top 50, maybe even the top 100, but I'd say definitely top 50, has their level in them to do it every so often. And just because they don't have a single digit number after their name doesn't mean that they aren't amazing. So I think it does sometimes discredit. So sometimes an opponent just has an incredible day and no one is beating them, not even the world number one. And this expectation that it has to be the top 4 lockout every single time and they're only allowed to lose to each other is not only placing too high an expectation on the elite players, but also not giving enough credit to everyone else.
Yeah, people will see a scoreline like someone's like, say a world number 3 got beat by world number 100 and like, oh, they suck, whatever. But then if you go and watch the match, like the world number 100 was playing lights out in a complete purple patch. Nothing that the other opponent could do. Doesn't mean they're awful. Doesn't mean, oh, how did they lose to this person? It's all about perspective.
I mean, not an WTA match. First match I can think of there is Nadal versus Rosol, Wimbledon 2012. Yeah, Nadal was injured. Rosol was playing lights out tennis that day. It was madness. WTA obviously happens a little bit more frequently. But yeah, okay, even Iga's lost to Noskova in the AO. Rebecca losing to Blinkova. Blinkova played incredible tennis the first set. She won that set. I don't think Rebecca was playing badly in the first set. The third set was a mess from both. But the it's you're right. There's the if you watch what happened, and that's what we kind of I agree with you, Sean, saying people underrating top 100 players in general. Where I think it's like the Kalinskaya match. Like when we were talking about it, it was all like a lot of Iga fans kind of went down the route of, oh, she lost because she played badly, and it made it all about Iga and it being like the errors cost her. Maybe they did, but the thing is, Kalinskaya was hitting big, not biggest as I said before, but really strong, consistent ground strokes on a fast court, which will rush Iga on the forehand anyway, and wasn't going away. And I was watching Kalinskaya's level and going, oh, she's taking it to her. She's not backing down. I think if it was a different player, different story. If she was having the kind of day she had against Paolini today, different story. So, yeah, I completely agree. It doesn't leave room for that person to have an amazing day and necessarily give credit to someone winning, which is why I'd rather talk about the person who won than the person who lost.
Yeah. Another match that reminds me kind of that narrative is Rome, when Fabian Marjan beat Alcaraz. I feel like everyone was like, what was wrong with him? Like, was he injured? What happened? And it's like, I think Marjan was just playing like better than him.
Yeah. Anyone's got that world beating level in them. And maybe it only happens one day of their life, but they'll take that day. Yeah. I think I may have to get off my soapbox now, but I needed to get this off my chest. This is the discussion we're having, and I think we're framing it wrong. But I suppose we've talked a lot about Iga's loss. Let's talk about the other top 4, because let's face it, whilst it's not, we're going on about saying it's not fair to expect the top 4 to only lose to each other for us to be in a big 4 type situation. It is probably fair to say that the top 4 didn't really show up in Dubai. I mean, Iga got to the semis, ran out of gas. Coco, patchy. Good win over Pliskova. Probably could have got a job going against Kalinskaya. I didn't watch the match, so hard to say. Rybakina was ill, but probably running low on gas anyway, given she'd played 2 solid weeks of tennis, which I think was probably the real reason she retired. And Sabalenka.
Look, she got a new set of teeth. She wasn't ready to play again.
Do you play tennis with your mouth?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. We know she can be up and down. So, but I didn't even watch the match. Like, I was like, okay, she's in the tournament, and then no, she's not.
Which is more surprising? The Ostapenko winning head-to-head over Iga, or the Vekic winning head-to-head over Arena?
The Ostapenko one still.
More
the
surprising.
most shocking head-to-head over Sabalenka is Diana Yastremska. Still.
What's the head-to-head?
3-love to Yastremska.
No.
Yes.
Oh, no, I really wish that was the Australian Open final.
Right, which is why I was like, the levels of drama that could be taking place during this final if it was the two of them. But I didn't want that because of the head-to-head. Y'all know my Sabalenka is one of my favorites. But yeah, it's a crazy head-to-head. They are from years ago matches, so I don't know if now it would end the same way, but yeah, 3-love.
The Yastremska match. What about the Vekic one?
What is the head-to-head?
6-2.
Wow, I did not know it was that wide. I thought it was 4-2. Okay.
I believe it's 6-2. Maybe someone can look that up, but I believe I've heard it's 6-2 in favor of Donna Vekic. Which is why I made the comment. I think I made a comment that, like, okay, slightly humble brag here. I kind of called the Chaos final in a tweet, and then replied to my own tweet with, "Don't be surprised if you see an Ostapenko versus Vekic final," which obviously didn't happen because of Kalinskaya and Vekic not being able to serve it out against Castella. Oh, it's 5-2 Vekic.
No, I still think the Ostapenko one is crazier because Iga has not been able to get a win. Like, clearly Sabalenka has the tools potentially to defeat Donna Vekic. I need to see Iga against Ostapenko again because I want to see if she's able to get the win.
Yeah, I think she should be able to. It just depends on the circumstance of the day and how much. I mean, she's probably been training for this.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I think
when Ostapenko plays her, all of a sudden she's not doing any more unforced errors.
Yeah, that's if Ostapenko stops doing unforced errors, no one's beating her.
Literally.
But yeah, I think on the people are saying that maybe the 5-2 on the screen doesn't include the match that just happened.
Oh, probably not.
So 6-2, yeah, but 5-2, 6-2, it's much of a muchness. But yeah, I kind of got my hopes up for Vekic because she's someone I've kind of been rooting for to get a result because she's on the list of people that I am surprised hasn't won 5 consecutive matches at the highest possible level, that being 500 and up. Obviously, she's won 250s before, but yeah, she's kind of in the same similar players in my mind: Aya Tomjanovic, Katerina Siniakova. Like, it's surprising to me that we haven't seen Vekic in a semi-final or a final of 1,000 Grand Slam semi-final, winning a 500. That she's been one match short a few times, so I really thought this was an opportunity for her. But again, Castella was refusing to lose for a lot this week.
Yeah, she's someone that sometimes she'll be nowhere to be found, and then she's just playing absolutely unbelievably.
Yeah. Did you know that Castella had been into a 1,000 final before?
Before
she's reached. No, she's only reached one in her career. Castella.
Oh yes. Oh, was it in Canada?
Canada 2013. Yeah, she lost to Serena. But she stormed through that draw. I think she beat a couple of top players in that run. But so it looked like she was doing something similar because she got herself into a really good position by, again, Vekic served for the match in the deciding set. And then I don't know if Cassette saved match points in that one. I don't think she did. She definitely saved match points against Marketa Vondrousova, who was looking like she might be back. And then whatever happened in that match happened.
Yeah, I saw a stat that said Marketa Vondrousova has not reached a semifinal since Wimbledon.
Vondrousova,
yeah, has not reached a semifinal since Wimbledon. But she doesn't get treated the same as Emma Raducanu does. Maybe it's because it's been years since the U.S. Open, but I would say she's not. The results haven't come immediately afterwards, but it's.
I guess with Vondrousova, here's what she's got going for her. First of all, she has reached quarterfinals since in a few I think about 3 1,000 events now. Secondly, she does have an Olympic silver medal and another Grand Slam final against her name. And she's a bit older than Emma. So whereas Emma kind of came out the blocks running and everyone thought this was the next big star of tennis, whereas nobody really said that about Vondrousova. It was kind of more of a realization of potential, whereas Emma's set the bar really high right out the gate and then has struggled to live up to that. So I think that's maybe why the difference is there. But yeah, Vondrousova continues to not have the best start to 2024, and suddenly that top 10 place is going to look very, very vulnerable come Wimbledon.
But watch her go back to back at Wimbledon.
She could. I'm planning my Wimbledon trip this year, and planning on going with my mum, and we're like, oh, who do you think we're going to see? And we're like, well, if we go on Tuesday, we know the first match on centre court is going to involve Marketa Vondrousova, which I cannot get my head around.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. Okay, so we've talked about Irina. Clearly needs to settle into her new teeth. Which the urge to do a Doctor Who reference is being restrained right now. That's weird. I think the other top 4 members. Let's talk about Coco. Are we in a worry stage with her? She that Siniakova loss in Doha wasn't great. She then picks it back up here. I thought her comeback against Pliskova, given what happened in that match, not losing her head too much, with that ridiculous call, was really, really good. I didn't see her match against Kalinskaya, so I don't know what happened there, because Kalinskaya looked injured, but maybe Kalinskaya was doing Kalinskaya things and peaked really high and no one could live with it. I don't know, but without the context of the match, it's difficult to make an exact judgment, but is there going to be alarm bells for Coco?
No, definitely not alarm bells for me personally. I mean, she has already made the semifinal of another slam after winning her first one. I feel like I'll be interested to see how she plays in America. I feel like she usually does pretty well on home soil. So coming up like Indian Wells, Miami, if the results still aren't great there, or if there's some concerning losses, maybe we can revisit that, but I don't think it's time for alarm bells for Coco yet.
No. Indian Wells should suit her, right? I think I predicted to win Indian Wells once before. I feel like that's a tournament that she should do well at.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Elena, probably frustrated that she couldn't finish the tournament, because this was probably a big opportunity.
Yeah. She needs to start drinking some herbal tea or something. I feel like this is not the first stomach issue that she's had.
French Open, I think.
Yeah. So
a few players had that in the French Open.
I don't know. I don't know if she's going to be defending Indian Wells. we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, if I was going to do a prediction for Indian Wells, and it's hard because the data for the modern era is very limited to 22 and 23 because there was no Indian Wells in March in 21 and no Indian Wells at all in 2020. Mm-hmm. But kind of predicting who's going to win it, you kind of have to it's usually someone who does well in who's performed strongly in Australia, which by that logic it should be Arena who's the favourite. Yeah, Indian Wells is a long way off, but yeah, unfortunate. I mean, also, but like, I don't know. It depends. I'm wondering because like Iga's pulled out before with a similar issue, and she was absolutely fine. It was just a code for not being able to finish the tournament. She did that in Bad Homburg last year, and I'm just wondering whether this might have been something similar for Elena, not wanting to push herself too hard for 3 consecutive weeks. So I don't know. Was this how have you found these this first year of a back-to-back Middle East 1000 as opposed to a 500 followed by 1000 as this has usually been?
Well, it's exciting. It's like 2 big tournaments back to back. I feel like I'm definitely more tuned in. Usually I'm tuned right out after the Australian Open until Indian Wells. But yeah, it's been interesting. And we got, Iga winning one, which felt like from day one that was going to happen. And then, interesting new winner in the next one. So it's not nice. I like the 2 back-to-back 1000s.
It's certainly a lot of fun to engage with as a fan.
Yeah.
Again, it brings up questions of, is it sustainable for the players? I think winning them back to back is going to be a very intense physical challenge. I think there's a reason why so few people have done that back to back, not just these events, but when we've had Madrid and Rome back to back or Canada Cincinnati back to back. I think it's always been a tremendous physical feat to do that. So that's the question around how much it should be encouraged. But in terms of giving me tennis content, I'm very, very happy.
we need a quirky name for it, like the Sunshine Double. We need something for it.
I went with the Middle East Double, which I know is a bit dull, but it was the only thing I could think of. Maybe because it's Doha and Dubai, you should call it the Double.
Just stutter.
The double. Ashley, the winner, is asking who won Indian Wells last year for the ladies. It was Elena Rybakina. Hence Bianca's comment that she's not sure that she's going to be defending her title. Getting some great suggestions in the chat for the double.
Sandstorm double.
Sandstorm double.
Desert double.
Desert double, yeah. And then if you add Indian Wells in there, you could do the desert triple. All right. Well, speaking of, I mean, we're talking a lot about Indian Wells, but it's not Indian Wells yet. That's the problem. Because we've got 2 tournaments in the US, so great for Bianca. It's all in your time zone.
Love it. Finally,
or close to your time zone anyway. We have a 500 taking place in San Diego, a 250 taking place in Austin. I believe we have people covering one of those tournaments, but I'm relying on my memory right now. It's gone a complete blank. So if anyone wants to remind me or correct me of what's going on there, that would be great. But yeah, San Diego will see the return of Jessica Pegula after a tough start to the season. She's going to be looking to be back on track as the top seed. Yeah, Isabel's going to be in San Diego. There you go. So hopefully she can give us some amazing Pegula content that we know that she always gives. Maybe just hand her a beer. That'll just solve everything. But yeah. 500. So yeah, top seed is Jessica Pegula. Second seed is Beatrice Harold-Meyer. Third seed, Emma Navarro. I mean, she's already third seed in a 500. That's Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova was the fourth seed, then Daniela Stremska, Marta Kostyuk, Donna Vekic, and eighth seed. This makes me very happy to see this player with a seed against them. Leylah Fernandez is seeded.
I wonder if this year will be her year.
I mean, year for what?
To make a comeback.
Comeback. I mean, she's getting there. She's already looked. She's probably going to be seeded for the French and Wimbledon. So if you mean, it depends, because like her year could be winning consistently, or it could be winning a Grand Slam.
1,000. I would be happy if she won 1,000.
I mean, so would I. It would be so cool. She's got Tatiana Maria in her first round, by the way, in San Diego, which I think is a winnable match for her. I think Maria has made a Wimbledon semi-final, but I think Fernandez should be able to hit through her. I mean, she's not a big hitter, but they're both counter punchers. And I think Leylah's probably a little bit better at it. So yeah, great opportunity for Fernandez. Who else in the draw? Caroline Wozniacki's got a wild card. She's playing Anna Blinkova in round one. Yastremska's got a tough opening round against Caroline Dolhide, who is the Guadalajara finalist there. Thank you. Clara Towson is in the draw. And Katie Bolter is playing Lesia Sarenko in the opening round when it's playing Haddad Maya. So that's the player field. Kind of thoughts on people we should be keeping an eye on there?
Well, Blinkova, I think for sure I'll be keeping an eye on. Pegula, I mean, I feel like she should be at least getting to the semis or final of this tournament. She's top seed. I feel like she needs a win right now also for some confidence back.
Yeah, she's got a good chance anyway. She's playing either a qualifier or Varvara Petrova in her opener. She's got a bye in the first round. Quarterfinals would be Wozniacki, Blinkova, Dolhide, or Yastremska. And then semis, probably Pavlyuchenkova, Kostyuk, or Towson. So those are quality players. It's not going to be an easy run. But you're right, she should have the edge over them.
Does she have a new coach yet, or is she?
I haven't seen. Does she drop David Witt? Oh yeah, she has. I forgot about that. Yeah, there's been a lot of other coaching changes recently, and I get those all mixed up. Mm-hmm. You never know. She might end up back with David Witt by the end of the year.
Very Holger Rune style.
I mean, why not? They've had a lot of success together. Yeah. I guess this is going to be the first tournament where she sees how she gets on without him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pegula probably going to be the main story to watch in San Diego, and Isabel will be there to bring us all the behind the scenes of it. Meanwhile, there's also the 250 in Austin, the ATX Open, and actually it's a pretty decent field for 250. Number 1 seed is Victoria Azarenka. Number 2 seed is Angelina Kalinina. 3, Sloane Stephens. 4, Danielle Collins on her farewell tour. Also playing Alina Avanasian, friend of the show. Deanne Parry, and we don't have the rest of the draw out yet. That's the problem. It's all pretty blank, even though we've kind of got a few people in qualies. So I'm not sure who else is playing, but that's your sort of top 8. But not a bad lineup in terms of seeds. Anyone kind of catching your eye there as someone to keep an eye on?
Definitely Sloane Stephens. I feel like she's been building kind of in the last little while. She's had some good matches, not necessarily particularly deep runs, but I want to see what she's going to do here.
Okay, so let's see what Stephens does. Collins as well on her farewell tour.
I don't know why I'm like not buying that it's a farewell tour.
I don't know what would convince her to go on another year then.
Winning a slam or 1,000, especially at the end of the year, she'll be like, oh, wait.
It didn't convince Panetta when she decided to stop.
Facts. Well, maybe that will actually convince her to stop completely because you end on a high.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's it. Don't need to prove anything else. And to be
Yeah.
fair, she's currently playing like she has nothing to prove. By the way, Kirit in the chat for the live stream is saying that he's backing Emma Navarro to win the title in San Diego. Bold pick. She's definitely rising up the ranks very quickly. Is that a step too far?
Just looking at the field, maybe one step too far. Maybe we get a semi.
Having a look at her draw now. Yeah, so Emma's got a bye, and then she's playing either a qualifier or Katerina Siniakova in her opener, and then probably Layla in her quarterfinals. So yeah, it'll be a tough fight, especially if it's Layla. Okay, there we go. So we are up to date with all things WTA. Congratulations again to Jasmine Paolini for winning her first 1,000 title, second career WTA Tour title. Very deserved, very exciting player, and looking forward to seeing what she does. But obviously, we're all looking forward to next week as well. So hope you enjoyed the chat today. If you did, please give us a like and follow us for more content like this, or even sort of give us a like or a follow on any podcast feeds you might be listening to us back on. Great to see we've hit 6,000 subscribers overnight. Thank you all for coming and joining us on this journey. Hoping you're enjoying talking tennis with us. Lots of great contributions in the live chat. So yeah, always enjoy having all of you part of this. Keep an eye out for any live streams that we've got coming up. So I know we're covering the Rio Open semi-finals tonight, and probably also the final tomorrow, whoever that ends up being. Bianca, what events are you going to be watching sort of today, tomorrow, and then in the upcoming week?
Ooh, probably the Rio Open final I will be watching. Yeah, I've not been the best tennis watcher as of late. As I said, I usually am in a slump after a Grand Slam. But yeah, I watched the thousands, so we'll see. Whatever's on. I usually just turn on my sports channel and I'll have like the multiple streams going, and whichever one pulls me in, that's the one I'm watching.
Well, there's plenty of 500 action, because it's not just the WTA 500 in San Diego where Isabel is, but we've also got the Dubai 500, and Shrihari's covering that for us. Obviously, Daniel Medvedev, top seed there. There's the Acapulco 500 happening as well, although I probably won't be able to watch much of that because they never play in my time zone. But that's all the ATP stuff. I'll probably be mainly watching San Diego, let's be honest. Good to see what kind of happens there. And I know that Vance will probably be watching quite a lot of that as well, given it's his own tournament. So yeah, but keep an eye on all the content we've got coming from the other tournaments. And of course, our weekly shows, ATP Weekly, will be coming to you in the next couple of days. And we will be back next week with more WTA Weekly, where we not only wrap up everything from San Diego and Austin, we start talking about the Sunshine Double, because Indian Wells in just over a week. And Bianca's loving that.
Yes.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. And yeah, there's plenty more to come. I'll see you soon. But in the meantime, take care and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.